This is LeetCode 125 valid palindrome. A phrase is a palindrome if, after converting all uppercase letters into lowercase letters and removing all non-alphanumeric characters, it reads the same forward and backward. Alphanumeric characters include letters and numbers. Given a string S, return true if it is a palindrome or false otherwise. So given example A or example 1, if the input was a man, comma, a plan, comma, a canal, then the colon space Panama, then that would be true, because once we remove all casing and extra punctuation, it's a palindrome. This basically backwards is the same word. Let's see. I think a really simple example of what a palindrome is would be like the word dad or mom. Basically, you could see that from front to back, if you were to basically like do like a 180 or something, I guess dad would be the same back and forth. Yeah, and then that would be the same with the word mom, because it's a palindrome. M backwards is the same word. So yeah, this should be a pretty simple problem. How about example 3? So if we're an empty string, then we return true, because after removing all alphanumeric characters, which we would remove a space, then it reads the same backwards and forth, which is good. Okay, so I think first what we want to do is remove all these extra characters, and then we could worry about the uppercase letters. So I found this little page on how to how to strip out non-alphanumeric characters. So we're just going to use this. We're going to do s is equal to, what is it? I'm going to copy this. So a new string dot join, we're going to use a join function, and we're going to filter out any strings that we're going to filter out strings that are now alphanumeric. Cool. So I think this should do that. And we're going to do s dot lower. I believe that makes it to lowercase. Okay. Now what we can do is we're going to do a two-pointer approach. So we're going to do and like an index at that and an index at that. We're going to start one index at the front and one index at the back. And we're going to continually, we're going to increment this one. So at first, the first left pointer, at first this left pointer is going to be at 0, and then this other pointer is going to be at 2. So at the front and the back of the string. And we're going to continuously check whether the characters at that index are the same. And if they are, then we're good. Then we can continue to just move them inwards. So this index would move to 1, and then this index would move toward 1 as well. And continuously just have a check to make sure that they're the same index. And okay, sorry about that, but once the indexes would get to the middle, then we would just end, because they both be equal to A, and so this would become out to a valid palindrome. What about in the case of A even index. So we do 1, 2, 3. In this case, we would have to stop. Once we'd have to have a check to make sure that the indexes don't, that the left index is always less than the one on the right. And if they ever do change, then we need to stop. Okay. So what we're gonna do is, so we filtered out the non-alphanumeric characters, and we've hopefully added the lowercasing. What we're gonna do now is gonna create our left pointer, 0, right is equal to len of s minus 1, because the length, the index is minus 1 of the length. So if we have a string of length 3, then we're going to have the index be, the last index be 2. Cool. We're going to do while left is less than or equal to right. We're going to do if if s of left does not equal s of right, got the colon there, then we're going to do return false. Because at that point we would know it's not a palindrome, right? Okay. And then we need to increment our pointer, so left plus equals 1, right plus equals 1, or no, minus equals 1, because the right pointer is going from right to left, right? So we're going from the highest index up to 0. Okay, and then hopefully this loop would terminate, and then if we exit the loop, then we know that, and we haven't returned false, then we're going to return true. Let's see if this works. Built-in function is not iterable. Whatever that means. Give me 1 second to figure this out. Oh, okay. So it took me a while to stare at this, but I think it's because we don't have an input. We have the string s. Let's see if that changes it. Okay. The error went away, but we still have this saying we have wrong answer. So let's print out s and see what happens. Let's just run the code so we can actually see the standard out. Okay, so it looks like it's not doing this lower, so we're going to do maybe s is equal to s dot lower. Probably should. Oh, okay, that works. Cool. So I do some live debugging, but I guess I always kind of forget with Python, but I think this doesn't change the actual. That doesn't change the actual variable in memory. It just returns a new instance of this variable. Cool. So let's see. What would be the time and space complexity? So time would be big O of, let's see, I believe, kind of tricky because I want to say it's probably like one of these functions, I think, maybe the join or the filter. I think the filter probably looks at the every index of the string behind the scenes, but because our loops aren't nested, I think it's still going to be O of n, where n is the length of s, and space is going to be space. Let's see, space. I think it's just going to be constant because the amount of space that we're using isn't growing as the input size grows. Not less these necessarily count as using space, which is a little confusing. So I think it's constant. I think it's really up to your interviewer, but I would say it's either constant or it might be O of n as well if these do some space allocation in the background. But yeah, so this is a valid palindrome.